Welcome, and thanks for joining Clarity's product launch. We'll be sharing details of our new Clarity platform for air quality measurements. This is a 30-minute session, but we do have some extra time if needed. And a reminder that we will be recording the session. I'm Elaine Gao, I'm the COO at Clarity, and I'll be moderating the session. I'm joined by Paolo Michalizzi, our CTO, and David Liu, our CEO. So the format of today's session is that we'll have short presentations from both Paolo and David, will be followed by time for questions at the end. The reminder that you can submit your questions in the Zoom Q&A box. So let's jump right in. I'll hand it over to you, David.
Thanks, May. And thanks everyone for joining these sessions. We're thrilled to share our newest product announcement, starting with Clarity's Sensing as a Service air monitoring solution. Next slide. In the past 4 years, we have seen the solution being rapidly adopted all around the world. It's now deployed in over 60 countries, and the reason it's so popular is its ability to deliver accurate and reliable data at scale. There are 3 pillars that made that possible. First, with solar power and building global cellular connectivity, the Clarity nodes can be deployed by customers in minutes, wherever they want. It actually measures NO2 and PM2.5 without worrying about dependency, such as external powers or Wi-Fi. Secondly, with Clarity Cloud, the measurement from Clarity node can be seamlessly processed and stored securely by our data pipeline. Our ever-evolving Clarity dashboard enables customers to not only visualize the measurement, but also to conduct powerful analysis and manage network. Last but not least, with Clarity expert support, customers can receive remote calibration through our air quality experts. This ensures the measurements are accurate and reliable, not only in the beginning, but throughout the duration of their projects. With vertical integration of these 3 pillars, Clarity's air monitoring solution and empowering cities around the world with fascinating user cases. Here are some examples. In London, the mayor's office and local bureaus are using the Breeze London network to better communicate with the public about air quality right at their neighborhood. The network also enables the city to better design and validate their new policy and initiatives. In Kampala, Uganda, the Kampala Capital City Authority leapfrogged the traditional reference station approach by adopting Clarity Sensor Network as their official monitoring network for policymaking. In California, we see schools, community, and air quality management districts using calibrated data from the Clarity Nodes network to inform them making better critical decisions during severe air quality events, such as wildfire smoke. What's more, by working closely with the customer around the world, we're seeing a growing demand for answering more complex environmental questions, in addition to what Clarity solution can offer. That's why today, we're announcing Clarity's move from one solution to a measurement platform. Right, next slide. Next slide, please. By re-engineering the Node S, we transferred the Node S from a PM2.5 and NO2 sensor into a platform that can power and connect additional Clarity-made or approved add-on modules. With this approach, we open up the endless possibility of what can be measured. Our customer can now have the maximum flexibility to configure their network while not compromising on the ease of use, affordability, and data quality of the networks. Let's take a look.
Air quality has never been more important. Clarity transforms the way we measure air quality at a local level. We provide everything you need: hardware, software, and expert services in a complete and scalable package. At the heart of our solution is the Clarity Node. Our node platform provides accurate and scalable data that extends beyond the measurement reach of traditional reference stations. This allows you to focus on areas of concern, such as highways or industrial facilities, or key protection zones like residential communities, schools, and hospitals. Using solar power and built-in cellular connectivity, Clarity nodes take only minutes to install. Once activated, they transmit raw data instantly. This raw data is then calibrated by our air quality experts to ensure high accuracy. This data and the calibration models are transparently provided for review and approval. Once approved, all of the data is available in real time through our APIs and in our comprehensive, intuitive dashboard. Thousands of Clarity nodes have been successfully installed in more than 60 countries. Here's what people are saying.
The technology itself is really resilient. Sighting the sensors has been really relatively easy to do. Clarity's team has been really good to work with as well, and very responsive to our needs for not just sighting, but also data analysis.
We found the monitors to be very reliable. We especially like the fact that they have their own power source and data logger, and we don't have to worry about, Wi-Fi connections and power connections, that sort of thing. And we did some studies and looked at other studies that air districts had done relative to Clarity, and we thought that we were getting pretty consistent results.
Our latest node, the Node S2, extends the capabilities of the Clarity platform. Seamlessly add Clarity modules to expand what you can measure. The Wind module lets you know where air pollution is coming from. The Black Carbon module helps you better understand the composition of particulates. And the reference-capable Ozone module helps you confirm ozone attainment. Clarity modules add flexibility and allow your network to become more powerful than ever, at a greater scale. Clarity transforms the way we measure air quality at a local level and in cities around the world. Clarity, scalable air quality measurements you can trust.
This is the new Clarity monitoring platform with 3 new modules introduced today: Wind, Black Carbon, and the FEM-capable Ozone. I'm so excited to see what environmental questions this can help answers. To provide you with more technical details, here's our CTO, Paolo Michalisi, to give you a deep dive on the platform, modules, and their user cases. And to you, Paolo.
David. It's very exciting to be here today to present the work of our product team. I'd like to thank everyone for coming and for your interest in what we are doing here at Clarity. In these past years, we worked very closely with our customers on cutting-edge monitoring projects. We worked with municipalities, government agencies, industrial facilities, but also community groups and research groups, and we discovered 2 interesting things. The first is that they love our solution scalability. And what do I mean with scalability? It's how easy it is to deploy tens of Node S's on the field with their onboard solar panel and battery, their global cellular connectivity. Also, how nice it is that the data flows through the system and it's easily accessible through our dashboard and APIs. And how this fully integrated solution is affordable. So it allows customers to add monitoring to many important new sites. So scalability is great. And the second thing we learned from our customers is that the environmental questions they are trying to answer are becoming more and more complex. They need more quantitative information on top of accurate particulate matter and nitrogen dioxide measurements to contextualize them and get closer to the answer. So based on these 2 findings, we re-engineered the IoT core of Clarity Node S. Next slide. Clarity Node S is now better at harvesting solar energy in low light conditions. It stores 20% more energy. It has an improved solar radiation shield and is easier to mount to walls and vertical and also horizontal poles. But most importantly, Clarity Node S is now able to connect to a series of tested and validated instruments, which become add-on modules and give it new capabilities, making it into a measurement platform. And this modular approach does not impact the scalability of the base unit. So without further ado, let's see some of the use cases that are enabled by these new add-on modules. Next slide. Probably the most common question our customers are asking is, where is pollution coming from? And we believe that a key step to answer this question is to understand accurately how air is flowing at the project site. Next slide. So to get you one step closer to the answer, we introduce the wind module. The wind module provides accurate information to help you investigate where the sources of pollution are and can be used as a modeling input to understand pollutant spatial distribution. Next slide. The wind module is an ultrasonic anemometer that runs in parallel to our onboard sensor module and reports wind speed, wind direction, but also weather station-like parameters, atmospheric pressure, ambient temperature, and ambient relative humidity. And it is fully supported in terms of power by our onboard solar panel. Our solution does not stop at hardware. Next slide. Clarity Dashboard supports real-time and historical wind data visualization by drawing wind and pollution roses for you. It's really a great way to explore spatial patterns, and you do not need to be a data scientist or a programmer to generate charts for your reports. Of course, the third pillar of our solution, our remote air quality expert team, is ready to support you with pre-deployment planning and siting, to go beyond best practices and incorporate the understanding of your specific project in the plan. So now, what can give even more context to our measurements? I think it's information about pollutant composition. Next slide. We are taking a big step forward on that with our next module, the black carbon module. Imagine deploying a sensor that is exposed to pollution from traffic sources, like in a place with heavy diesel truck traffic, but also exposed to pollution coming from biomass burning. We can now measure black carbon concentrations, and we can do that at different light wavelengths. This allows us to estimate the amount of aromatic compounds commingled with black carbon particles. A higher difference between the outputs indicates larger amount of aromatic compounds, which points to bigger contribution of biomass burning rather than high temperature fossil fuel combustion. And if you correlate particular matter measurements to black carbon measurements, you can also investigate the contribution of natural PM sources like desert dust. Next slide. We are enabling this advanced analysis in real time by partnering with Atlabs and integrating their best-in-class micro-IF device into our measurement platform. Atlabs is known worldwide for their ability to integrate advanced features into lightweight form factors, and their proven technology is used by more than 500 organizations worldwide. And it's at the center of the state-of-the-art public health and environmental studies of black carbon. So I want to give a big shout out to Jeff and team and thank them for becoming part of the Clarity platform. Next slide. Another very frequent and important question we get is about the highly harmful pollutant. It exceeds often the mandated levels both in the US and in the EU, and it creates wide non-attainment areas. Of course, I'm talking about ozone. Now, ozone is a little different from the pollutants that we've been monitoring so far, because the way it's formed is more uniformly distributed than PM and NO2, especially in the place where the concentrations are high, which usually are suburban and rural areas. So with this understanding, we developed our first FPM-capable add-on module, the Ozone module. Next slide. The thinking behind this is to allow you to create hybrid networks where most devices monitor NO2 and PM2.5 at high spatial resolution, and fewer units that monitor ozone, but with FEM-grade accuracy. And once again, we are bringing best-in-class device into our platform. The Ozone module is developed in partnership with TBTech based on their Model 108L device. TBTech has decades of experience providing reference-grade monitoring instruments to governments and also to industry. And the millions of samples taken by their instruments have contributed greatly to regulatory monitoring efforts across the globe. And it's really an honor for our platform to host their instrument. So a huge shout out to our friends at TBTech for being a great partner. Wrapping up, next slide. We are excited for our product to have grown into a measurement platform. Our mission is to enable our customers to fight air pollution. And we do that by keeping the scalability of our solution for PM and NO2 monitoring, and by providing add-on modules to study the answer to complex environmental questions. As you can see, the wind and the ozone modules are available for order today. Black carbon is right behind the corner. And thanks for the attention, and I send it back to May.
Thanks for those great presentations, David and Paula. We're super excited about the new offerings and expand what our customers can do with our solution. So at this time, let's jump right into the QA session of the program. As a reminder, you can submit your questions in the Q&A box and we'll get to as many as we can. So to kick us off, the first question I have is, when are the new Clarity modules available and how much lead time are there for orders at this time? I'll pass that over to David.
Thank you, May. So as mentioned in the webinar, both Wind and the Ozone module are available to pre-order right now with a lead time of 3 months. And the Black Carbon will be available to order down the road in a couple of months. If you're interested to learn more about this module, feel free to actually check out our website, which we actually now have a new section just dedicated to the module. And feel free to reach out to us at contact@clarity.io. Back to you, May.
Thanks, David. This question is for you, Paulo. So why not put everything in one box like we had done for particulate matter and NO2?
It's an interesting question. So I think we have observed this trend in the indicative monitoring space where manufacturers are adding many measurement parameters to kind of check boxes for each criteria pollutants. And we decided to differentiate from this strategy for mainly 2 reasons. So one is that we want to hold ourselves to the highest standard for data quality. And we think it's hard when you deal with so many pollutants, each with their special challenges, and when you're responsible to integrating the sensor components into your system. So really, then this opens up to the possibility of, instead of integrating ourselves to do partnerships, which can bring a lot of added value in terms of deep knowledge of individual parameters. And the second point, I think, is really related to our mission. So we really want, as a company, to maximize our product's impact in the fight against air pollution. So we think that the organizations that have the most impact usually are such as disadvantaged communities or agencies in developing countries. They have also the most strapped budgets. So we really want to make sure that we don't compromise the kind of affordability or the cost capability position of the base unit for PM and NO2 measurements by increasing them in complexity and cost and making them harder to deal with. So I think that answers, hopefully. Back to you, May.
Great, thanks, Paulo. I know we have a few questions in the chat box about accuracy and performance. And so how accurate are these modules and how is calibration done? I'll pass that to you, David.
Thanks, May. That's a really good question. So I think for us, the focus on providing reliability and accuracy at scale has been always our really high priority. And that's not an exception for the modules. So each module, before we introduce and launch publicly, we actually went through a sort of research and competitive analysis before selecting the best-in-class instrument manufacturer for that particular modules. Then we work really closely with our module partners to making sure that the products performs as it should be when it's integrated with Clarity's platform. So all the modules, actually, the Wind, Black Carbon, and the Ozone, which we released today, will be calibrated before the shipment and do not require an initial calibration. Some modules, such as Ozone and Black Carbon, will require a scheduled calibration maintenance, which are included in our Sensing as a Service packages. So back to you, May.
Sorry, thought that was muted. Thanks, David. We have a question from the audience. Can 2 modules be connected to one Node.js platform? And I hand that over to you, Paulo.
Yes. So at the moment, it is not possible to connect more than one module to one Node.js. You have always the possibility of deploying 2 Node.js right next to each other. but we are working on special cable to allow to connect two modules at a time, but it's not at the moment available. Back to you, May.
Thanks, Paolo. How will the modules be powered and how will data communication work?
I'll take this again. Thanks, May. So yes, so let's start with power. So the wind module will be powered with the onboard solar panel and battery system of the Node S, which is great. So you can imagine only one wire that goes from the wind module to the Node S, nothing else. While the black carbon and the ozone modules will be powered through the Node S, but the Node S itself will have to be connected to an external power system or to the plug in the wall. So you can envision one wire that goes from the module to the Node S, and then one wire that goes from the Node S to the wall plug. Or to some customers have experimented with external power systems, such as a bigger solar panel battery system that is external to our Node S. And the second part was for communication. So all modules will use the Node S global cellular connectivity. So the measurement will flow from the accessory from the module to the node, then from the node to the cloud, and will be made available to dashboard and to the APIs. And as always, the SIM cards and the data plan are already embedded in the device and included in the service. Back to you, May.
Thanks, Paolo. David, I know you responded in the chat box, but I figured I'd throw this out for the audience because the service is one of the 3 pillars of the clarity and monitoring solution. Will there be a common service department for handling these integrations, or users needing to reach out to separate manufacturers to do so?
Thanks, May. So that's a really good question as well. So for all the modules we are offering today, all of them were under our same sensing as a service, essentially business model. So what that means is that our customers will get the same kind of level of support throughout their project, just as before. So we will be able to answer the common technical questions regarding the installation configurations and some common maintenance questions. And we will also coordinating the regular maintenance as well. Yeah, thanks, May.
Thanks, David. And Paolo, this question is for you and related to the performance and accuracy of the instruments. How is an instrument tested and qualified to become part of the platform?
All right. Yeah, so for instruments that desire to become part of our platform, we have worked on a protocol to qualify these instruments. And we really start by communicating this to the instrument manufacturer, this standardized module interface protocol that we developed. And this protocol really covers power consumption, limits, and serial communication requirements, also mechanical requirements such as mounting, and also operating conditions and weatherproofing requirements. And the manufacturer then sends back samples of their instruments and that have been customized according to this protocol. And then we run a series of field and lab tests that are really focused on integration testing, but also accuracy testing and reliability. Back to you, May.
Thanks, Paolo. Next question, what new software features will be available with these new modules, and how can customers access data from the modules?
Yeah, I can take this one too. So yeah, all the measurements and also module status reports will be made available through our APIs that are great if you want to integrate with your existing system. But basically, as presented before, that our solution is fully integrated. So we really like to provide this tool that simplify the data visualization and the data analysis, which basically is our dashboard. So all the module measurements will be also made available through our dashboard and the existing charting and historical data loading features. But let's say some of the nice, I think, new features are related to the wind module. So it's now possible to draw this wind and pollution roses, both with real-time and historical data. So you can load up as much data as you wish, and then you can plot the pollution rows. So pollution rows, basically, you can imagine it's a histogram of pollution concentration measurements that are binned by the direction that the wind was coming from when the sample was acquired. So it's really, and we can basically do this and overlay it with a map. So it's really a nice tool to explore spatial patterns visually. And we make it very easy to do through the dashboard. Also, a cool one is for black carbon. So we will be able to chart or plot the measurement done at different light wavelengths, such as infrared and blue. And we can then look at the deviation between the two measurements at different light wavelengths, and we can investigate also the contribution, for example, of wildfires rather than traffic sources. I saw some questions also related to that in the chat. So I think that opens up a really kind of powerful analytical tool. And we try to make it as real-time and easy to access as possible without relying on our customer having a data science team or a software team. And I send it back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Paulo. So we have a question from the audience, and I'll pass this to David. Will Clarity continue to support current customers with the previous version of the Clarity unveils?
Yes, certainly. I mean, that's best part of our sensing as a service model. You don't have to worry about the hardware components. We are making sure that they are, up and running as long as you're subscribed to our service. So we are committed to continuing support the old Node 1 as well as all the upcoming modules down the road. Yeah.
Thanks for that, David. And looking further ahead, does Clarity plan to offer more modules beyond what we're launching today with the wind, black carbon, and ozone modules? I'll pass that to you, David.
Thanks, May. Yes, we do. So the elegance of this kind of a modular approach is that theoretically, we can add almost an unlimited number of modules as we want. But in reality, we go through a very rigorous selection and testing process, as Paul just mentioned, before we release this module public, so that we can ensure the overall quality of our services we provide. So as a matter of fact, there are some modules that's already in the work and will be released next year. So please stay tuned.
Thanks, David. And we are at the end of this session for time. So thanks for everyone for joining, for all the great questions. If you have additional questions or want more information, please check out our website or reach out to us at contact@clarity.io. We're happy to continue the conversation. Thanks again for joining, and have a great day, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.